Before I start my sermon today, really I've got to define some words. What is a materialist? And what is a mystic? Well, a materialist believes in only what he or she can see, touch, feel. Here's a rock, holding a rock in my hand. It's hard. It's real. Now, a mystic, on the other hand, they believe in things you can't see or touch or feel. So people talk about this world being an illusion, the mystics do. But that word is not quite what they mean. Because this world, even though they call it an illusion, it's real. Both the materialist and the mystic will stub their toe if they kick a rock, for instance. But the mystic believes that the rock is a projection of a deeper reality. Well, a materialist believes that this is all we get. Here's a rock. There's nothing beyond that. For instance, and this is the crux of the matter, to a materialist, the brain creates consciousness. To a mystic, consciousness creates the brain. Okay? Now, you've got that straight. For instance, clouds and mountains, to a materialist, are just things, their beauty being beside the point. A newborn baby, too. It's humanity being equally beside the point. You ask a mystic what a baby is, and they'll say it's a field of infinite potential. Now, what we have here are two opposing worldviews contending for our allegiance. Which one is better, to be spiritual or materialistic? Is God a mere add-on to this world, or at the very center and foundation of it? Well, we do have a problem, because most of us have extensive experience with this world. We touch it, we smell it, we feel it, on and on and on, and yet we have very little personal experience with God. Invisible, untouchable, but not really. Yet, from the materialist point of view, God has a lot of proving to do. He must prove that he's present and dependable the same way a rock or a tree is. Okay. Then the mystic says, no, no, no. God is real. I feel the energy. I feel the love. I feel a lot of things that can't be labeled rock or tree. For instance, well, I think we're talking about expanded intuition here. We have intuition. You know what yours is. We could describe it a little bit. Intuition. Okay? There is no objective proof that love is beautiful or that the truth can set you free. Then, how do you know? In the same way you know you are alive, or that the daisies are pretty, or that honesty is better than lying, except while seeking union with God. Your intuition becomes deeper and more accessible. Your intuition becomes deeper and more accessible. On the spiritual path, everything is dependent upon a shift in consciousness. Okay. Now, We have another division between worldviews. Okay, we all have all the materialists over here on one side, and now we're going to put the people who believe in God over here. But the people who believe in God are divided also into two categories. One who believes that God is an abstract idea, and those who see him as a loving presence. Which is it for you? If you're one of those who believe in God, is he an abstract idea or a loving presence? Now, most people who feel grateful to God tend to deny that he is also responsible for disease, calamity, and death. Well, how is that possible? How is that possible? Either he sustains everything or nothing. Millions of years of evolution have matched bee and flower so intimately that neither can exist without the other. Why then does it appear that God supplies us with good things one day and pain the next? Are we not at least equal in God's eyes to the bee and flower? The way to escape from living under a God who brings pleasure one day and pain the next is to realize that God isn't a person. That's the group of people that believe God is an abstract talking here. God isn't a person. Therefore, all this is possible. Oh, it's kind of like this. I'll tell you a little story. Look at God as an old man, let's say, sitting up in heaven. And he's working out equations. He's not paying attention to what these equations are doing to the world. They're wreaking havoc on the world, actually. But he's just working out his equations. The ones that's given to him. Well, who gives him the equations? We do. We tell him what the equations are. He is simply working out the problems that we set before him. There. Now that's an abstract idea or concept of God. He's just working out the equations, not caring what they do, because he's not responsible for their creation. We are. Well, that's one way to look at it. And from a certain point of view, I agree. But let's move on. We only call God he because our minds resist thinking of God as a total abstraction. In truth, being total, God has to be an abstract. We can't wrap our mind around this all of all being. So we wrap it around things that we notice and we choose to believe in. Okay? By choosing gratitude, for instance, you are selecting a benevolent aspect of the all on which you want to focus. You have the power to choose whether to activate the aspect of God that gives or the aspect that takes away. Whatever you pay attention to will grow. If you pay attention to those aspects of God that demonstrate love, truth, beauty, intelligence, order, and spiritual evolution, those aspects will begin to expand in your life. Well, that seems like a reasonable point of view. Okay? And in this way, little by little, like a mosaic, seemingly unrelated fragments of grace will merge to form a complete picture. Then and only then can we live as the bee and flower do, in complete harmony with the creative force. I have an analogy for you, another one, like the man in the equations. This one is from Joseph Pierce. He says there's a forest and it engulfs everything, really. He calls this forest the primal stuff, the unconscious, the unknown potential, perhaps just an empty category. In this forest, there is an intense awareness, without thoughts or emotions. It consists of every possible potential. Here, we find the God, which is an abstract. Then there's the human. Thoughts and emotions are part of the human experience. And by thinking, by feeling, by doing, by wanting, we have created a clearing in the forest, a tame area, a place we can put cottages, and grow our food, live our lives, love, hate. It's all in the clearing. The forest is just the raw material. The clearing is what the humans have made from the raw material. And how do we do this? By ruthlessly selecting a very narrow view of reality, removing every other possibility, making only our reality visible. Oh, I'm going to have to say that again. Here we have the forest with every potential staring us in the face, like chaos, merging in and out, and it's just crazy, a crazy chaos. Every potential, nothing missing, it's all there. And then we humans say, no, 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 that's too much. We can't enjoy anything because we have everything. And so we want to see a clearing in this forest, and the only thing we're going to allow in it is our personal beliefs and the beliefs of the society in which we live. Okay? We create a clearing, ruthlessly selecting a very narrow view of reality, removing every other possibility, making only our reality visible. Then there's another question that arises, whether or not this clearing is the cause of human consciousness alone, or a much deeper and all-encompassing level of consciousness. Whether God is an abstract, or could there be a part of God who is a loving presence, one that can think, feel, and be just as we are here? Now, Emily Cady, she wrote something very interesting. And it seems to me from reading this quote of hers that she couldn't make up her mind which one it was, the absolute or a loving presence, or both. She didn't know really, I don't think. Every metaphysician, here's the quote, every metaphysician either has reached or must in the future reach this place, the place where God has, as cold principle alone, will not suffice any more than in the past God as personality alone could wholly satisfy. Let us consider for a moment thought. What thoughts did you think today? Was love contained in them? Was service freely given? We are dancing in a ballroom in which there are no material. We are dancing thoughts. Please, let these words sink into your mind until you have completely grasped the concept that we are all part of the original thought. Well, what is the original thought? It's the first thought that was created when consciousness first came into being. And that very first primordial thought was love. God is love. When we find God, we will have found love. This is the desire of our Creator, that all His parts express and experience the love that created them, both the bee and the flower, and also the human. The only difference is that the human has been given the ability to choose. To choose what? Everything. We are self-aware, free agents. I've defined God as an abstract or absolute or cold principle, and added the idea that God is also a loving presence, and that all consciousness is part of this loving presence. Oh, let me say that again. All consciousness is part of this loving presence. Are you a consciousness? I am. We, each of us, are part of this loving presence, the original thought. So, from the start, consciousness created a clearing called love in the forest, which is the absolute. There's a third aspect of God, physical form. In the words of Emily Cady, she's getting the place of honor today with the quotes. In our outspringing from God into the material world, spirit is inner, one with God. Soul or mind is the clothing, as it were, of spirit. Body is the external clothing of the soul. Yet we are, in reality, one. We are, in reality, one. Not a body here, a mind here, the divine nature there. You really cannot divide these up. You cannot. They are not divisible. We think they are. But once you reach union with God, union means one. You realize beyond any doubt that there is no division between mind and body and spirit. They are one. And we are one. Your body, mind, and spirit and mine are not separate. Not really. For on a very deep level, we are part of the original thought. We are love. We are the consciousness called love that's at the root of everything, that came out of the absolute as its first expression of thinking and feeling. And so, here we have the crux of my idea, my concept, my sure knowledge that yes, God is the absolute. I have definitely felt, am feeling the absolute nature of God interwoven into everything. I'm also feeling the love of our Creator, of that primordial first thought, which was love. We cannot be anything else. We are the divine. We are the absolute, and we are the first original thought, which was love. So let's reverse the scenario of there being the absolute, and then consciousness, and then physical, body and things. They seem separate, but they're not. That's what I'm saying. Reversing this scenario, let's start with the human body. who is clothing for a mind or a soul, who is clothing for the absolute, which represents the forest of every potential possibility. This is what's possible. When a person is in union with God, this state of being can happen anywhere, in any dimension, by the way. You don't go to heaven. Heaven comes to you. But when a person is in union with God, this state of being is like coming out of a dream. Suddenly you know that you're not just a body that created a brain that created consciousness. You're not a materialist. A person in union with God can never be a materialist. Never. Not possible. You're one. We are one. And we are one in love. Therefore, we are not just an abstract. God is not just an abstract. There's been evolution. There's been change. There's been focus through consciousness. The focus is on love. God is love. We are love. And this love is all there is to be conscious of. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. I see the Christ in you. And these words I leave with you today with great humility and a love for you beyond words. Thank you.
My flight has just begun, or perhaps I'll touch the sun. I have stretched my wings for higher things. I will be free. My flight is underway. I will arrive someday and see the blinding light, the brilliant light, in a place where I am free. I am free. I am free. I am light and love, and I am free. I am free. I am free. I am light and love, and I am free. I am free. My flight has found its end. It's not what I intended it to be, for when I landed I was back on earth. The light of love has dawned. I am where I belong, for I will fill this world with light and love. Yeah, I am that I am, and I am free. I am free. I am free. I am a light and love, and I am free. I am free. I am free. I am a light and love, and I am